Hey, it's Lawrence here from High Intensity Business, bringing you another episode. I literally just got off the phone with Patty Durell, just got off Zoom anyway. Patty is the co-owner and operator of Rock Solid Fitness in Florida in the US. A huge fan of Patty. She's been on the podcast multiple times. Always really impressive what they're doing in their business. And they're really well organized. They have systems for everything. And so I knew Patty would be a great guest to have on to talk about retention. And more specifically than that, we talk about proactive retention process. Rock Solid Fitness have had really high retention relative to the fitness industry. And interestingly, over the last few months since COVID hit, their retention is at 82%, which is really, really high in the industry. And so I thought it'd be a great opportunity to ask Patty about what are they doing in their business to foster such great retention. So she literally walks through their entire proactive retention process. This is the steps that they follow with every single client without fail to give them a great experience and make sure they retain them as a customer. And so this is a really good step-by-step podcast where you can actually take the action list and implement parts of that into your own business that make sense with your business and your culture. And please subscribe to the podcast when you get an opportunity. And we're on every platform these days. We're on YouTube. We're probably on your favorite podcast app. So subscribe so you get notified on your favorite platform every week. And please head on over to highintensitybusiness.com/tactics to get access to free resources to help you grow your high intensity training business. And without any further ado, please enjoy this great podcast with the one and only Patty Durell. Lawrence Neal here, and welcome back to highintensitybusiness.com. This is episode 286, and today we're going to be talking about the proactive retention process. And today's guest to talk about that is Rock Solid Fitness co-owner and operator Patty Durell. Patty, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Lawrence. It's always a pleasure to be here and great to see you.
Likewise. Thank you very much for coming back on the show. It's great to see you as well.
Forgive my properness. I'm sorry. I should have. Never mind, Neil. We're on screen. We can take that off.
Wow, I can't believe you just did that, Patty. But it was kind of funny, and obviously we both have our own opinions on the mask situation, but that's one for another time. So I wanted to just kind of, I guess, preface this discussion just talking about, what we're going to be talking about today. So we're going to be talking about proactive retention. You guys do a great job with retention, and we'll talk about some of the numbers in a moment. And for those listening who are wondering, what the hell is proactive retention? Well, retention is absolutely key to generating revenue in your high intensity training business or in any business really. And there's different types of processes. There's a reactive retention process, which as per the name is reactive. And so it's kind of in reaction to action or behavior from the client. And that might be some kind of email campaign or text message or phone call if they don't turn up for a certain number of sessions, for example. Whereas proactive is a process that happens regardless of their behavior. So regardless of whether they turn up for a session or not, these are certain steps which you do to really increase the likelihood of greater retention in your business. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Patty, do you want to just start off by explaining to the audience, the type of results you've had for retention, certainly given the climate that we're in at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that you bring up the climate for the moment, because for us to track retention now, we're like, we got to kind of reset because COVID hit us and we don't really, and we changed CRM. So we don't have data, and COVID is really skewing everything. Mm-hmm. So we almost reset for after COVID. And then of course we're keeping real numbers since prior to COVID as well. But it's interesting. So we feel like now we have some good data. We're 3 months out of the lockdown for us. And fortunately we weren't able to we didn't have to lock down. We were able to stay open. And we are grateful to report that we're at 82% retention right now at 3 months. And we're just starting to, I can tell you what our great numbers were in the past, but they fluctuate. And our retention numbers fluctuate. We go up and we go down and all around the place. So COVID is definitely, we're getting new data and we're learning what a pandemic does to our retention. And I don't have any history on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you want to just give the numbers for a longer period of time as well, just to give people context?
Yeah, so at our best, and at our 6 month retention at our best, we've been as high as 70%, and 12 month has been as high as 12 month plus is 67%. So
Yeah. Yeah.
our goals are always 65% for 12 months, 70% for actually 9 months, and then 85% for 3 months. So those are our goals.
Yeah, and you actually measure retention properly. It sounds like retention is one of those kind of markers that's notoriously badly measured, right? Because people can say, "Oh, well, I'm sure I've probably spoken about this with Luke before, possibly on the public podcast, but a lot of people will say, "Oh, Steve's been with us for 12 years, and we have great retention," and meanwhile, they've forgotten about the 200 clients they lost in their first 2 years of operating, right? And so it's really poorly measured because it's very biased from a lot of businesses that I've kind of come in contact with. And so it's really important, obviously, to have kind of a measurement in place. You can actually track it properly across the business. And what would you say if we just look at like gyms, like generally is like the average retention? Because it's much lower than what I think you're reporting.
Yeah, I think, well, we are so different, right? I mean,
Sure.
we're such a different thing. I think it's almost not right to compare it. A big box gym doesn't operate in a relationship like we do. I don't think they can. I think it's 50% generally for a big box gym. At least that's what I've learned through URSA. It's hard to get numbers on that too. When I was first in business, I wanted to know what is the average in the industry. So it's really hard to get that information. And we do what we're doing now is we ask our friends who are in a similar business, and then if you can get the real number, that's also interesting to get the real data from people. Because I feel like not a lot of people really want to share, some data that's not favorable. Like I will tell you that we have been as low as 44% in some of our retention. And you have to track that because that means there's a problem in your organization. You got to fix it. So it's not always great, but it's definitely something you need to track.
One of those findings that really hurts in the moment, but then it's transformative when you actually take action to fix it, right? And it's like blessing in disguise in that sense. How would you, so that we're all on the same page here, how do you define retention? So those numbers you gave, just to explain it to the audience.
So you, Lawrence Neal, come in, you start today. Are you still with us in 3 months? Are you still with us in 6 months? Are you still with us in 9 months? Are you still with us in 12 months? So, and that's, that's hard to do unless you have a good CRM. If you have a lot of people, it's hard to keep so with Mind Body, we can do a pretty good job with that.
I thought you switched from Mind Body, didn't you?
I did. I went to Wellness Living for about a year and a half, and it was not a good relationship. So we went back to Mind Body, and unfortunately, we lost some of our historical data when we did that. And that was my problem. My problem was reporting. Mind Body did a much better job with it. So we had to data entry a lot of stuff so that we could keep some of our retention numbers. But we've been in business for, 9 years. So to go back 9 years, we didn't do. We went back like 3 years. So we're still struggling with some of our big retention numbers.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
So do you want to, I alluded to it a bit, but do you want to just preface some of this kind of, before we get into the kind of the how-to and the things that you guys do, why do you think retention is important?
Like Horst Schulte says of the Ritz-Carlton, the 3 keys to business are to keep the members you have. That's the first thing. Find new members and then try and figure out how they'll spend as much money with you without pissing them off, right? So, the first thing is keep the members you have. Retention is important because we all know it takes a lot more money, a lot more time to get a new member in the door than it is to keep an old member. But I'm impressed that people have stayed with us for as long as they have. Before 9 years ago, I was like a solopreneur and we would work out of other people's gyms. And we have people that have literally been with us since 2000. But
that's mad.
It's amazing.
It's like watching
But
people go through their entire life.
it's awesome to see that journey and have that
Yeah.
experience and that data with them. You know, they're having grandkids, and that was their goal, to be able to play with their grandkids, and I'm seeing that.
Mm.
So, but you know, that's rare, right? That's very rare to have someone. They simply need an appointment. They need someone to show up. They trust you. They are getting good results or maintaining themselves. But I think that's extremely rare. I think most people get bored and move on, and it's good for us to move on sometimes.
Mm. Yeah, I agree. And I think something that's really important to mention, and something which again is true across all industries. I mean, I'd say Seth Godin is one of the most important or one of the most popular people for talking about this. Is, you know, if you really look after your clients, if you really give them great results, great experience, then you're going to generate word of mouth referrals. So this directly feeds into your marketing plan, right? So it's like, yes, you've got these processes in place to retain and increase retention, and that is ultimately going to lead into greater number of referrals as well. Is that fair for me to say? Do you have any view on that as well?
It is the number one thing on our PSO retention system. Build a genuine and meaningful relationship. That is the
Okay.
number one thing on our system. Yeah, I agree. It's
Okay.
most important.
Okay.
Am
So
I
let's
answering
get.
your question,
Yeah.
Lawrence?
Well, I guess I was looking for validation. It wasn't a very good question, really, was it?
Yeah, I guess, yes, it's all about the relationship.
Yeah, it's just a thought I had, and I thought, you know what, that's probably important to mention here, because I think, I don't know, it's the whole like retention versus new clients. It's like new clients is sexy and retention isn't,
Mm-hmm.
so people don't pay as much attention to it. So I'm just trying to underscore the importance of, you know, if you really pay attention to retention and really giving people great experience and results and all the rest of it, and educating them and all of this, then you are going to generate more clients as a result. So I'd love to hear what you guys do. Can we walk through it like step by step? So someone joins, what's the process?
Yeah, so the biggest thing is we want to build a genuine and meaningful relationship. And it starts from 10 feet past the front door, you know. As soon as they join we call it a family. As soon as they join our family, we send them a welcome note. The whole team signs it and we say, welcome to the family. We're so excited. And we mail it in the US mail with a stamp, and it winds up in their mailbox.
Love it.
We ask them when they're real excited about what they're doing with us, and when they're first starting to feel, you know, good about it. We ask them, we kind of send them our Google review link and ask them to fill out a review for us. And I personally, or someone on my leadership team, sits down with everybody. We try to do it within the first 2 weeks. It's hard right now with the COVID schedule with everybody, but we try to do it within the first 2 weeks of their membership with us. And I personally sit down and show them, I introduce them to a form. It's called a 2-minute review form. And it's supposed to take 2 minutes for the client to fill out. And it's just a bunch of questions. It's 4 parts. It's when you arrived at Rock Solid Fitness, before your workout, during your workout, after your workout, and then there's an open-ended question section. And I introduce everybody to it. I thank them for trusting us. I tell them how important it is and what it means to us, and also what it means to them. And then, hey, here's our form. We're going to fill this out together, so you know that I have expectations of my team, and I want to make sure they're delivering the service that you want and that I expect them to give you. So this is just a way for us to keep a check on that. So in a couple of months, we're going to give this to you, and here's a box. If you'll take it home, anonymously fill it out and pop it in the box. So that starts the process of me getting every 2 months a 2-minute review form from every member telling me how things are going. And then I share that with the team. And on the open-ended questions, it's things like, what frustrates you about our industry? So I start to learn what their pain points are. I also ask them, what do we need to do to lose your business? Like, just flat out. And I shut up and they're always like, did you just ask me that question? Yes, I did. And I find out exactly what I have to do to lose that person's business. And I think that's the most powerful thing. I hear things like, don't treat me like an individual. Don't pay attention to me. Lose my time slot, so we start to learn things that we need to do for clients overall. I also ask them, what would make Rock Solid Fitness better for you? Like, how can we improve this? And so we get ideas from them, and then we implement it, and they see us caring and they see us doing that. So that stuff is very powerful. After the 2-minute review, like, we're big on mailing cards. I give my team, I empower my team to have wow moments. They have a wow account. So I don't know if you've ever heard of something similar. Many people call them wow accounts.
No,
they get $50. They get $50 a month that they can spend on any client to make a difference in a client's life. So, like, I had to pick up chocolate covered strawberries the other day because one of the clients was having a birthday, and one of my team members heard that they like chocolate covered strawberries. So
that's not conducive with their training goals, Patty.
Yeah, it's her birthday, you know. Yeah, and then Danny Meyer, who has many books and many restaurants in New York, and is very well respected in the customer service industry, talks about connecting and collecting, or collecting and connecting dots. And we've adopted that as well. So our antennas are always up, trying to listen for information about our clients, so we can wow them, we can connect with them, and we could also connect them to others, because creating a community is what makes people want to stay. I think the key is having a community, having a personal relationship in a community. So we do a lot, I've had team members buy gift cards for anniversaries to favorite restaurants. I've had them buy joke books, send flowers, and it's great, and so we just reimburse them. We do, everybody gets a birthday card from us mailed. We highlight them on a big board when they walk in. We have an anniversary, like everybody, you walk into Rock Solid and there's a big board. Who's having a birthday, who's been with us for 6 years, who's been with us for 1 year. We create success stories around them. We highlight them in our facility. We're not so great at social media, but we try to push them out on social media, and it highlights them. They're proud of their results, and everybody likes to be highlighted. Like I said, if somebody's sick, a family member sick, we send them a get well card. Like, the team, it's all about the team and getting them excited to want to connect with people, and then of course your service. I mean, you have to be on top of your service, like the personal training. That has got to be like the best part of people's day. You can't be talking about what you're doing this weekend and how last night was. I mean, people enjoy that, but at the end of the day, when they're looking at their bank statement and they're saying $500 a month, am I just going there to talk to a friend? That's a deciding factor, right? So I'm going to talk about that part of retention, which is the team people part of retention, the inside people part. Mm-hmm. But we have a referral program. We reward our clients for referring people to us. To your point, I don't think new clients are sexy. I would like to have a waiting list for people to, I would like to have so many people staying there that I can't take on new clients, that I'm maxed out. So I think retention's sexy. Just wanted to say that, Lawrence.
I agree. Yeah.
So we're working on some different things also, like a tiered system. We're just putting this together right now. So you're kind of getting it off the press, where hot off the press. So a big thing we measure, almost more than retention, is engagement. So we sell memberships. People come in either twice a week or once a week. If they're coming in 8 times a month for their twice a week membership, they're 100% engaged. And so we know if we keep people engaged in their membership, they're more likely to stay, right? So if people stay, do all their things 1 month, we're going to give them maybe a $5 gift card to Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts or something. They do that again for the second month, maybe they're going to get, a Rock Solid Fitness nutrition journal. So we've got this tier system. They do it for 3 months. Maybe they get a $25 gift card. Now I'm talking more money than probably we would do, right? But my team has this all worked out, and they've got a stair step. So maybe you go 12 months without missing your engagement, other than the planned vacation, and you get 50% off your membership or a free membership after 12 months of doing that. But if you miss 1 month, you go all the way back to the first thing. So you might be just collecting $5 Starbucks gift cards, which you don't want to do. And so we know that, the more engaged we can keep them, the more likely we are to retain them.
That reminds me of those, the phone games where you log. I don't know if you play phone games, Pat. You probably got better things to do with your time. But where you log into the game and then it gives you like a reward for logging in, and then if you log in the next day, you start a streak. It's the same as that. It's like a similar thing to that, isn't it? But it works incredibly well to get people to play the game.
Yeah, I don't play the game, but I'm glad to hear it works well.
Yeah, it's a similar kind of incentive. It's like you don't want to lose out on what you've achieved with that streak. So but you're doing it in a very healthy way, whereas trying to get you addicted to a game is perhaps not so good. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So, have you got any more tactics you do on the proactive side that you want to mention?
We do, so we do quarterly client events. That's another area where we're really looking at right now because it's hard to get people together to have events. Although we are, right now having a positive party. So we're going to do it outdoors in our parking lot and just have people come express positive stories. We have a physician that went through a divorce while she was starting her journey with Rock Solid Fitness like 5 years ago. And she just had been through so many hard things. And she said, you know what, I want to share my story and I want to hear everyone else's story. So let's have a party. So we're going to do that outside. It's hard for client events right now to have that quarterly. Yeah. And so we've been thinking about different things, like maybe grabbing all our financial advisors together and trying to help promote them as well. Like, how can we connect? We're big about connecting our community to our clients' community. Like, we just think that the more communities we can connect, the more we're the center of the communities. So, our monthly seminars, we like to pull other people in and give them credibility. I think that helps us always, just like what you're doing, Lawrence, right? Whenever you have another credible person talking, I guess I'm saying I'm credible right now. It promotes your credibility.
You are.
So we do things. Thank you. So we do things like that. We also, like I said, just I think appreciating our clients like on a daily basis, thanking them when they walk out the door. Every single team member gets a power note. So when they are brought on to the Rock Solid Fitness team, they give me a picture that's personal to them. I get it through Vistaprint. I put their name on it, and now they write power notes to clients. Somebody crushed their workout, they're writing a note, and people are getting stuff in the mail from us. We're sending emails with articles. So, yes, we're proactive with our retention. We are.
Just a tad.
But I'm going to tell you, Lawrence, we are. I mean, we're systemized all over the place at Rock Solid Fitness. Everything's a system, but your systems are only as good as the people implementing them. I mean, you can have the best systems in the world, but when you're in the relationship business, you've got to have the right people. And really, the years I've been tracking retention, I think it comes down to the people. Mm-hmm. The people who are smiling and creating the relationship, the people who are smiling and delivering the service, or the people who aren't smiling and aren't helpful and are just BSing with you. I mean, one person can kill your retention more than any process can keep it.
That's a quote right there. So that it's kind of like who, not what, right? It's the importance of getting the who. And again, we've done hiring before a long time ago on the podcast. So I'll link that up in the show notes and they can learn how you hire. But yeah, it's absolutely critical, right? To, as you said there, one bad hire can kill retention. So,
or not firing.
Right. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well said. Just on that, assuming you've covered most of your process, do you want to talk about some of the mistakes that you perhaps made in the past related to retention so that, I guess our audience members can kind of try and avoid those pitfalls, if any come to mind?
Oh, I would say for sure, like not being consistent, with whatever it is that you're doing, not being sure of what the process is, or, training and development is probably the biggest thing. biggest mistake is to not have a robust training and development program and constantly going over it. Empowering your people to, make the magic and have the fun with that. Not doing that was a mistake, like thinking that, you have to make all the decisions. Let people loose. It's, let them loose, and they're really creative. I think too, again, the biggest mistake for me is not paying attention to the people that weren't doing the right thing at Rock Solid Fitness, and being afraid of the pain of letting them go. Don't get me wrong, Lawrence, I have the most amazing people on our team. Like, Rock Solid Fitness has the most amazing people, and we have never been in a stronger position. But a couple of times I've made a bad hire, and I think myself and the team knew it, but we just let it be like, who else is going to answer the phone? Who else is going to schedule the appointments? I can't do anymore. So you sometimes keep things the way they are. It's a lot more comfortable and a lot easier, but doing the courageous thing is always the better thing.
Awesome. Yeah. I totally agree. And, I wanted to jump back to something you said. You talked about, obviously the importance of that client experience and kind of operations, and how that is like a critical component of all of this. I'd love to hear, can you perhaps drop a few gems in terms of what are like the most important, top 3 things that trainers must deliver on during a workout with a client that really you believe contribute to that kind of retention factor?
They've got to listen. They've got to just listen, and they have to respond to what is said to them, in a meaningful, explanatory way. If somebody walks in and says, hey, my low back's been bothering me a lot, and the trainer says, great, let's get going, glad to hear it, let's get going. That's just not going to work. I would say also being on, I hate to say showtime, because that sounds disingenuous, but you have to show up. You have to show up for that client. You have to let that client know that they are your focus, not be talking to your teammate next to you, and not be, talking about the sports you went to last week, which this person doesn't care about. I think it's being there, being in the moment. And also know people's struggles, not only in the workout, what does that feel like? You know what it feels like because you do it yourself. Sit in that seat with that trainee and understand where they are, empathize with them, and let them know what they're going through. Be on the journey with them. I think that's very important, to be on the journey with them.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
And don't screw up their appointment.
How would they screw up the appointment?
By if somebody's set on Monday and Thursday at 5:00, and that, try and honor that. We have a little, so this is a side note, and I'll just share this, hoping that my listeners don't, or my members aren't listening. But we have a little, we call it a raving fan list. And so these are clients that do everything right with us. They love us. There's never a problem. They refer clients to us. They pay on time. They do everything that we offer. They buy everything we offer. We give them the world. So if that client wants Monday and Thursday at 5:00 and you give that away, you're going to lose that client.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You know what I mean? So we try and make those things happen for that raving fan list, which is a good retention for those people who are referring to us. Mm-hmm. But I think that you have to honor people. You have to know where they are. You have to be genuine, and at the end of the day, give them what they expect, not what you expect. Don't train someone at a max intensity, all out failure if they hate being sore. You're going to lose them. And don't train someone like they just had a stroke when they want their butt kicked. You're going to lose them. So you got to really adapt and know what your client wants, and you got to ask a lot of questions to find that out.
How do you walk that line then when someone doesn't like to be really sore after a workout, but you want to give a really effective workout? How would you walk that line? How does that manifest itself in what the workout actually looks like and the intensity level?
We exactly had that. So we just had that happen to us. So we have this mesomorph guy. He is a very, very successful entrepreneur. He owns a big fishing boat here. He goes diving for lobsters. I mean, he does big charter fishing. He's an awesome man, very successful throughout his life. He was a bodybuilder in his past. Has all these aches and pains all over him because of it, recognizes it, had lots of surgery, and came to us. His wife is a doctor, and she was working out with us, and she's like, this is the only place that I think you could work out without getting hurt. So he came in, he wanted to work out, and, we were like, oh, this guy loves to work out. He likes to work out hard, but he had a conversation with us that he didn't want to be sore, and he didn't want to go to muscular failure. He knew what muscular failure was, and he didn't want to go there, that it was bad for him, whether it was or not, it was bad for him, right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so
Patty points at her head for the podcast listeners out there. Psychologically.
If you feel something's bad for you, it is bad for you, right? Yeah, perception is reality, I think, all the time. Yeah. And so, because he could go there, the team kept going there. Well, I sat down with him for his 2-minute review, and was asking him, one of the questions on our 2-minute review is the intensity appropriate for your liking here? Do you like how hard we're pushing you? And he said, no. And I said, tell me more about that. And so he said, I told your trainers when I came here, I didn't want to go to muscular failure. I told them that it was bad for me. I'm hauling oxygen tanks all day. I'm putting it on my back. Like I've got, 50 people going out. I can't handle that soreness, and I'm sore here, and you're going to push me out of here. And so we had a big conversation with the fitness coaches in our meeting about what to do with this man. So he calls the shots. When he's done, and he's happier than ever. I followed up with him. Thank you. That's exactly what I wanted. It's not treat people the way you want to be treated. It's treat people the way they want to be treated. It's not work out with people the way you want to work out. It's work out with them the way they want to be worked out.
So
and educate. I just want to say that, Lawrence.
Yeah.
We had to educate him. Hey, you're not going to get stronger, bigger muscles doing it this way as fast as you could. Like, this is the trade-off of not going to muscular failure. We feel the need to tell you that, and is that okay with you? And so you have to pull the client in and say, here's the pros, here's the con, it's your choice.
So just so I understand this, so let's say, for example, he's on a chest press. He'll be going through a set, and then he'll just get to a point where he goes, I'm done, and the trainer just honors that next exercise.
Yep.
Is that the system you kind of put in place for that particular client?
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think that's genius, and I think that's really useful for people listening to this. Patty, I was gonna summarize what you said, and I think you've just dropped so much gold during this. Is there any other thoughts you have around retention that you want to share that you have not been able to mention, or do you think we've done a pretty thorough job there?
I think we've done great. I would say the bottom line is retention is about your culture.
Yeah, well said. I think that's a good wrap-up line. I just want to, again, I won't cover every detail because I think people want to, obviously get every single piece of information. They can re-listen to this. But I just want to summarize some of the key things. You said as soon as someone joins, they get a welcome note. You saw me scribbling furiously during this. This is what I was doing. They get a welcome note. They get an email to request a Google review, which is really important for SEO as well. For those listening to this, if you want to rank your personal training studio on the search engines, then getting Google reviews are obviously important in terms of Google's algorithm. Then you do the 2-minute review form with them. Do you do that every 2 months for each client to keep kind of a record? Is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah. So I do the first one in person within 2 weeks, and then they just randomly get it throughout their stay with us, and they hopefully do that anonymously. And then we collect them once a week and read them and record them.
See, this is just before I continue, so interesting because I thought you maybe have like 5 steps, but you've actually got like this really extensive process, which I think is great. And I think it's really helpful for listeners to kind of pick and choose what might work for their culture. And then the next one was every trainer gets a $50 per month for each client to reward them in some way or spend on them. You do birthday cards, you put their name on a big board when there's some sort of something to celebrate for them. You highlight their tenure with the studio. You highlight the importance of just delivering an amazing personal training service, listening really well, showing empathy. We covered that. You have a referral program to reward members who refer clients. You have a tier system to give them rewards and gift cards if they hit a certain number of sessions. You have quarterly client events to celebrate birthdays and things, and also create networking opportunities. There's just so much. You write power notes to clients. You send emails of articles adding value. And then you also highlighted how important the who, not the what is, in terms of, you've got to pick and hire the right people to support that culture that's going to foster great retention in your business. Consistency is everything. And like you say, you've got to systematize this. People are going to listen to this going, well, how the hell do I remember to do all this? Well, that's why you have to have systems in your business. What was it you told me? Is it the solutions in the system? Is that the classic?
Yeah, it's on every computer in our place.
And like it just takes the load off. If you've got a system and you've got a team and the team know how to use the system, then you don't have to worry about this stuff. It just needs a way of making sure it's being adhered to. And then you said they're having a great training and development program for the team. And then a raving fan list to really focus on delivering on those raving fans in your client base. And I think that's probably the majority of what you said there in a kind of high level format. Is there anything I missed from that?
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, I have 15 steps here in our PSO retention process. But you use Mind Body, so you're right. It's just you do one thing and you set a new contact log with a date for the next thing, and you assign it to the right people, and it just keeps going. So yeah. But Lawrence, it comes down to your people and your service. It just does. Retention is everything. Like whenever we talk about it, it's every department, it's every person, it's everything you do. It's the bathroom being clean, it's the floor, it's everything. Retention is just everything.
It's funny, isn't it? Because it's like it's like marketing is everything, right? It's like retention is everything. It's not, this is not cliche. This is true. It's like every aspect of your business contributes to these key functions, right? They all overlap and interconnect. I think that's kind of a cool observation. What was I going to say? I had this has happened 3 podcasts in a row now where I've thought about something and then I've completely forgotten it. I'm blaming stress of COVID and all that.
You got a lot going on, Lawrence.
Yeah,
we all do.
Well, yeah, probably. I don't know if I've got as much as you going on though, although you've prevailed really well during this, it sounds like, in terms of being able to stay open, which is amazing.
Grateful.
Yeah. Grateful. Patty, I'm just really grateful for you featured on the show. Thank you for taking the time, and thank you for being so transparent. Like you said, these are numbers that are very sensitive, and I understand why some operators and owners wouldn't share it. And so I'm very grateful for you sharing it. It means that people can, learn so much more if they're, by having that access to the realities of your business. So I really appreciate that.
My pleasure. Thank you. Cool. Well, the world needs more real, Lawrence.
That it does, especially right now.
Yes, thank you for having me today. It's always a pleasure.
You're welcome. And for everyone listening, to find the blog post for this episode and download the PDF, which has 10 ways to get more high-intensity training clients, which actually I put some tips in there from Patty as well. Please go to highintensitybusiness.com, search for episode 286. And until next time, thank you very much for listening.